everyone. This is Pastor Troy right here on the doc.org, dropping new episodes out of the clouds into your lap every Tuesday and Thursday. If you're driving, that drop's got to be really accurate, you know. If you're just sitting at home, it's a little bit easier, but we're going to get it to you every Tuesday and Thursday on the doc.org. We're all about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and Sermonet are also available to you. But we love it when you go to YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. We get bonus points. Help us get bonus points. And then we'd love to have conversation with you. Go to our social media partners, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. I get all 5 of those right. I get a bonus too. And you can comment, share with us. If you're interested in our subject today and you want to get engaged, engage us here. We'll get you right to the source. And as always, hit subscribe, like, notify, be a contagion. Spread on the doc to everybody. It is the God version of a blessed COVID. Go give it to everybody. Tell them they got to watch the show, season 1, 2, and 3. You didn't like that?
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Well, they say the bird flu's coming. I mean, but let's give a godly flu. John Wesley said that the Holy Ghost should be, the Spirit of God, the love of God should be contagious.
Yes.
We need to treat it as a contagion. Make On the Doc contagious and let other people get a little hope in Jesus Christ. Go to Patreon. Patreon is our app that we use for partners and sponsors. We have 4 levels of partnership, 3 levels of sponsorship. You can be a part of this show. Find On the Doc at Patreon and learn how to do that. We have partners that have already helped us increase and expand our studio. Let you be a part, and we'll do a show about you and feature you as well on the doc. Check it out. Also, go to slnt.com, promo code OTD that we're partnering with Silent this season for Faraday bag products, and reclaim your right to disconnect our landing page for all those discounts as well. You can go to slnt.com/discount/OTD, and we'll run our full commercial at the end of this episode. Reclaim your right to privacy. Hey, Donna, I got mine right here. My phone's in it. Don't even have to go to airplane mode. It is blocked and secured, and nobody can listen. The Chinese, the Koreans, whatever, the USA, whoever's listening to me, they can't hear me now. And we have learned they are listening. We know on this show they listen. We've told the story many times about how they tapped into us during a studio rehearsal. We said one thing. We all got emails about it. And the next day, Silent wrote us an email and said, if you don't want your emails listened to, you need a Faraday bag. So we're in a private studio, Jordan, private studio, talking about a subject, not an up show. And overnight, before we shot the next day, we were getting notes about things we talked about in the studio. Finally, the company SLT said, we also got your note. And we talked about how people are listening. They said, yeah, people are listening. We'll help you stop that. Yeah. And then they reached out to me and said, do you want to be an affiliate? They
well played.
Yeah.
Maybe it was them. Maybe they said.
So not even Silent can hear me right now. We're partners with them now. Check it out and reclaim your right to privacy. Yeah. They set it all up.
Big strategy.
Yeah, big strategy. Hey, they got me. I'm easy. On the doc.org, go to our website, find about all our platforms, Patreon, all this stuff. You can find information on SLNT. And if you're just confused, like I am usually, email Donna at info@onthedoc.org. She'll sort everything out. I'm Pastor Troy, your host for this show. I got Mother Beth, my incredible co-host for 3 years now, and my partner in life for over 35 years. She's in studio with us. Mother, how you doing today?
Incredible.
You're doing great. Fantastic. Donna Kranuski is our tech and producer on the show today. Donna, how are you doing? You got a camera, don't you? I do. Oh, you don't have a microphone, though. Don't I? Yeah, no, you're in charge of that. It's not happening.
Oh, there's no volume.
There you go. There you go.
There I am.
Hashtag bring Donna back. Donna's here. One of our Patreon sponsors, we'd occasionally put her on when we didn't have a co-partner like yours. Yeah. We would throw her microphone over there and let her be a part of the set, you know. Yeah. But then we couldn't do it because we only had a 4-microphone setup. So one of our Patreon people called me and said, hey, I want to bring, somebody said, we need to bring Donna back. So we had hashtag bring Donna back. So one of our people said, I'll buy whatever you need to get to the 6 microphones that we need to get Donna on regularly. And so we just upgraded this season, and Donna is back.
Nice.
Yeah. We took her microphone back because we had 2 extra people last week. And then the guy said, do I need to buy a 7th? I said, yeah, really, that's next. So Donna is in studio. She's ready to fire questions from the tech booth over there. We're here doing a Taking It to the Street Spotlight. It's our super series for this season, this and Building a Stronger Church. And we're looking at the Restore Network today in studio. The Restore Network is all about changing the culture of foster care. In this first episode, part 1, we're going to be taking a look at a spotlight, the ethos, kind of an overview of it, and hoping you get a good feeling for this organization and think about how you can respond and be a part. You don't have to necessarily be a foster parent, but you can certainly do that. We'll show you how to do that today. But there's ways in which you can help, participate, and actually support others that are doing that. And there's so many ways to get involved. I got in studio here at in the seat, Jordan Bird, Executive Director of the Restore Network. Good morning, Jordan. Welcome to On the Dock.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where are you from?
I am from Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. Yep. You've been a pastor, I know, formerly at the Journey.
Yep.
Are you still based in the Journey for your office?
Yeah. So we still attend there, and the Journey is kind of in every area or county that we end up operating in. One of our churches usually gives us some office space, and so that is the Journey.
And I noticed that you guys are in 7 offices.
So yeah, we have 7
but more
areas
counties.
that covers 11 counties.
11 counties. And Southern Illinois, I was really having a hard time with you guys because we usually put where you're from. You couldn't really say Marion. I didn't want to just say Alton. They want to say Columbia.
Yeah.
Really, Southern Illinois. Wow, I just got to echo there.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. And got a little bit of a buzz too. 7 offices, but 11 counties.
Yep.
And where was the ground zero?
Alton.
So
Madison County.
and that's the main address. So when you look on the site, you get the 3993 Fosterburg Road. That's in Emmanuel Free Methodist Church.
That's right. Yep.
And that's the office for the Alton location. So that's your ground zero. Then you kind of expanded down. But I know the Restore Network's been working down here for quite a few years because I've been watching your work and seeing people. When did you get down in Marion?
It's going on 7 years.
On 7 years down in Marion. So it's a growing organization.
Yeah.
Expanding rapidly and do that. So let's tell you a little bit about the Restore Network. It's just give us a summary, and then I'm going to show them your opening video here.
Okay. Yeah, we're a 501c3 organization that exists to work with partner churches to recruit and support more foster families while advocating for a better system for kids. And so, we really exist to be force multipliers for the church. I like that. Not to, we don't position ourselves, really can't do our work in a partnership way where we say, hey, we don't approach churches and say, hey, give us some money and watch us do our thing and we'll come back to you and report. That's not how we operate. We want to come and be a holistic partner to churches and help God's people be mobilized to embody, James 1:27 is a famous passage about pure and undefiled religion. And no, we don't have to convince anybody to care about kids, but knowing what to do when there's a system involved and all of that, it gets complicated. So we exist to help mobilize God's people to do that work. And so, we come in and help plug people in to either foster themselves, volunteer, or be a part of the work through donating.
And as executive director, you're working with 7 different directors in 7 different offices, it looks like, something like that?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's quite a network, and that's why you have the Restore Network.
Yeah.
A network of churches.
So we have I think we're right at 60 churches or so across those 11 counties.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
19 staff, including myself.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. Hey, let me show you this video. I'm going to set this up because I think this will start our conversation out. They've got an incredible video that you can find on their site, on their Facebook site, and I think also on their main sites where I pulled it from. And the title of the video is God is on the Move.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch this real quick, and then we'll get some comments from you on it afterwards. And I think this will help people listening see what you guys are trying to address, the battle that you're in to try to win this for the Lord. Here we go, Donna.
Every year in Illinois, there are over 240,000 incidents of suspected child abuse and neglect. Over 4,800 kids will enter foster care as a result. That's 13 children coming into Illinois foster care every single day. These children have seen their parents overdose in front of them. These kids have woken up to find that in the night, mom has left them again. They have been hungry. They have hidden in closets out of fear. They've been bruised. They've been beaten up. They have been sexually assaulted. Being in foster care is not their fault. Children in Illinois foster care spend an average of 3 years in the system. Only 24% of them stay in the same foster home the whole time. 39% of children spend time in 4 or more homes while in foster care. Approximately 2/3 of children in foster care also have a sibling in care. Most of the time, these siblings are not placed in the same home. Children in foster care experience PTSD at a rate more than twice that of combat veterans. A system cannot solve this problem. A program will not solve this problem. God's answer to the foster care crisis is the church. The Restore Network is equipping the church to engage the foster care system in Illinois. We are raising up a new generation of foster parents called by God to bear the burden of brokenness with vulnerable children. We are equipping them with trauma-informed resources so they can truly bring healing to the children in their care. Our volunteers are wrapping around foster families with comprehensive support so that even though this is a difficult journey, they are not walking it alone. Our foster families are bringing God's love, compassion, and hope to birth families who are living in dark and hopeless situations. We are celebrating when God brings healing to a family and children are able to return to their moms and dads. God is on the move. He is changing the culture of foster care, and He's doing it through His people. Visit therestorenetwork.org to join the work.
Wow. That's a powerful video, Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, it lays out the problem very, very clearly that I had no idea there was this level of need in Illinois. I mean, I know things are rough today.
Sure.
Is this getting better? Is it increasing the demand, the need for what the Restore Network's doing?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
It's increasing and the demand is increasing.
Yeah.
So,
So I didn't know either. That's kind of how all this started for me. I know we'll get more backstory later, but
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't know either. And I was a pastor trying to figure out how to engage our community helpfully. Not, I was never a fan of just doing stuff to do stuff as a church. Like I wanted to find ways to meaningfully impact our community relationally,
Right.
like long term, make a difference, plug our people into people, that kind of thing. And so I didn't know what that looked like whenever I became the pastor. And so just started talking to anybody that would. And through that, one of my members was a CASA advocate, volunteer, which is a court-appointed special advocate that stays with basically advocates for a kiddo legally, through the court system and stays with them through the life of their case. And she started telling me stories, and I knew that foster care existed, like most of us do, but I didn't know there was this level of need. I had no idea. And
even in Southern Illinois.
right.
It's
Yeah.
not just Chicago. It's
Right.
not the Northern.
You hear these numbers, you think it's out there, right? Like these overwhelming numbers, we hear them about orphans across the world, and they're real. Like, I don't mean to minimize that, but it's just, it was a shock to my system when I realized, like,
It's
this
right
is
in your
here.
backyard, right in your backyard.
Yeah.
Right. So Restore. I've got a good mission vision. I went to your webpage, and your mission says foster care is designed to protect children, but unfortunately, it can harm them further.
Yeah.
Kids are moved from place to place. Many of which are not equipped to help them heal from their trauma. There's the crisis of the moment, and the police come in or social workers come in, and they have to pull a child out, and we always think that's the moment, but it's not just the moment. There's luggage and scar damage and trauma that's occurred all before that. Right. Then you got the whole removal, whatever happened to kind of set it off, and now you got a child that's, like you said, I love the line in there. It said, it's about these children. It's not even their fault. They're just in the system. Now they're just thrusted in the middle of the night or in the middle of a situation into somebody else's care, which could be a whole nother world, So tell us a little bit about how y'all deal both with the trauma. This is tremendous on a child.
Yeah. Our vision statement says, to change the culture of foster care so that every child can experience healing. And that part is easy to say, but there's a lot to that.
And we're not talking about physical healing alone.
Right.
Physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, all of it.
You said it well, because a lot of people do think about that moment. Okay, they were in a bad place. Their home was not safe, which is true. And so
there was a fight at the house or something happened. It was that moment.
So they think, okay, we'll just get them out of there and get them in a, and a lot of us, and we see this a lot with Christians, like, well, just give them to me and they'll be okay.
Yeah.
And so
I'll fix that.
They
just need a good mom, a good
that's
little
right.
discipline, or whatever.
And that's not like, they do need that.
Yes.
Like, for sure. But that's not that's not enough.
But this is not like
right?
a sports injury where somebody just twisted their knee. We're
Right.
going to tape it up and we're going to get you back in the game, right?
But that's so helpful because when a kid hurts himself playing sports, so we're all at the game Friday night football. We see the kid's knee get blown out, right? Like bends the wrong way, the whole crowd cringes, right? We know.
Carry him off.
We know what. Okay, so no one's mad at that kid in 2 weeks when he can't walk.
No one took a bad shot.
No one would say to him, "Hey, you're not on the football field anymore.
We'll see you next year.
Why can't you walk?
You're going to take some rehab time."
No one would say that, right? It would be foolishness.
We hope
right?
to see you back next season, right?
Right.
It's going to take time.
And so because we know that kid's going to need treatment, medical treatment, an MRI, some medication, probably some physical therapy, maybe surgery, and no one's mad at them. No one's mad at them.
And they could lose a year. They could lose a year of freedom.
Yeah.
And we think that for us that's normal and that would be expected, and we accept that.
Yep. But with our kids coming to care, they have wounds that we can't see and often don't understand, and so
these wounds can be repetitive and age old, very deep,
and deep, emotional, physical, spiritual, sexual, and so then these kids are it pretty quickly can switch to where people start getting frustrated with them that they can't act the way that they. You're 7 years old. You should be able to act like a 7-year-old. Well,
why don't they act like my other kids?
Right.
Well,
they might be 7.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. They might be 7 years old chronologically, but developmentally they might be 2.
Right.
Right.
Who've
and then
experienced the trauma of somebody else for 30 years.
That's right.
A 2-year-old that doesn't know how to process that, but they've experienced what maybe somebody their whole life hasn't ever experienced.
Yeah.
How do you process that? Because a child doesn't even have the tools to process that.
Right.
So it takes time.
Right. So there's a lot of exciting things that we do at Restore to, we can talk about like if a family will say yes, like we'll help them get beds, cribs, the material supplies. And that's great. And we can quantify that. I quickly began to realize one of the thing that I got most excited about that we do to support our families is train to meet those needs, to actually bring that healing, to bring the trauma. We talk about being fearfully, wonderfully made as Christians, as we should, right?
We should, right? Absolutely.
But sometimes it stops with the womb, right? And again, there's a lot to marvel at there. But that idea of being fearfully, wonderfully made continues on after birth, right? Like God designed.
You're having to stay engaged in this.
Yeah, we're designed to be born into a family with a mom and a dad, loving caregivers that meet our needs. When we
Ongoing, it's a process, right?
When we cry, they come.
Right.
We cry, they come. And that happens over and over again. And through that, attachment happens. And through that attachment, security develops, and we're able to develop. When you remove those elements, one or all, because of abuse, neglect, abandonment, or some combination of all of that, there's plenty of studies to show that actually impacts how a child develops,
absolutely.
Impacts their biological development. The amygdala gets over, which is where we fight, flight, or freeze, right? That's our lower brain. When we're in danger, we shift out of logical, executive functioning thinking and into survival. Well, a lot of our kids are just being raised in that all the time. They're just there all the time. And so it becomes like, if you've ever seen anybody that only works out their biceps, but the rest of their body looks weird.
Yeah,
they never hit leg day or something. It's like, oh, that's disproportionate. Well, a lot of our kids, that fight, flight, or freeze is just overworked to the point that they don't. It's so triggerable for them.
Some children can recluse. Some can get very calloused and hard. Every child's going to respond differently, correct?
Yeah. So we're really passionate about not letting those kids get slipped into being labeled and dismissed and over-medicated. We believe they were harmed in relationship and they need to be healed in relationship. And they can be healed. But the average parent doesn't have the tools and know how to do that. And so that's a big part of what we do.
So you do supply training then?
Oh, yeah. Lots of training.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is when you think Restore Network, we always think somebody's going into foster care, end of story. But network implies it's an ongoing relationship. So you're not just connecting parents with the child. You're actually resourcing the child, resourcing the parents, resourcing the process.
Yeah.
The whole part.
Which I think is huge because I think a lot of adults are afraid to be foster parents because they're afraid that they're not equipped to handle.
Well, some of that fear is well earned.
Of course.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. Right?
But
and
if there's somebody
and the system is so broken. It's real. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of the things you've heard about the system are probably true.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right? Because it is a mess and
yeah.
it's really broken. And the national average is that foster parents quit at a rate of 50% within their first year. So 50% of foster
Wow.
parents are quitting within their first year, right? And so, yeah, we don't want to just recruit families from the church and say, hey, good luck, get in there, right?
Right.
At that same, like any good world general is going to go, whoa, we're losing people on this front at 50%. What can we do to train them better?
That's a horrible loss rate.
Yeah. Like we don't want that. So
Any marketing would you'd be fired.
right.
The whole people, yeah.
Yeah, that nobody's okay with those stats.
Right.
In any other realm. So, okay, what can we do to equip them better, train them better, resource support them better? Do we get more air support, more equipment? What can we do? And so for us, it doesn't just stop with the recruitment and sending them right in there. We want to wrap around them with as much support as we can. So that is some training on the front end, some general, everybody gets this training.
Right.
Is
But
that
then-
your Restore Network? Is like your 101? Is that,
Yeah, so we have a 101 workshop for people who have never fostered before.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a 201 workshop for people who have fostered but just or are fostering but want to join our supports. And so, everybody's going to get that. And there's some really good general stuff there. But then we continue to walk with them through connect groups and general trainings where we gather and give them stuff. But then some of the most beautiful things is that there's personal follow-up. And so we have local staff in all of our areas that are calling and checking in, particularly after a new placement and asking, how's it going? Because if you just ask in the first day or two or even a week or two, there's a thing called a honeymoon period,
Yeah,
which is
there's no
very real,
Oh, we're doing it. We're doing
right?
it.
Everything's great.
Yeah.
But then a lot happens as that kid begins to settle in emotionally, physically. Their fear sensors get triggered because now they're starting to wonder if they can feel safe here or if they're going to be asked to
They
leave
start
again.
testing the limits. And
And so
Just like any child would.
So we want to keep checking in, and over the course of weeks and months, we keep following up, and we're asking very specific questions. Hey, what's going on? And whatever behaviors are there, we are then walking with them in relationships, providing them. We have some training. We just say, hey, I think you want to check this out about sleep regulation or this behavior issue. But then also it's just, okay, have you considered this? Let's put their story together. They're doing this behavior. Okay, well, what do we know about what they've been through?
Mm-hmm.
Right? 'Cause sometimes it's as simple as like they won't take a shower. Okay.
What's happened in the shower?
Yeah. That's where they were sexually abused.
Right.
Of course they won't take a shower.
So you got to rethink that, or
Right.
rework that, and build trust. And
So if
new
you're not
pathways.
looking through that lens, you're going to make some judgments about that kid. You're going to have some harsh.
Get in the shower. I told you.
Yeah,
and
And
then
if
it's
we
just
just posture-
reinforced. Right.
If we just posture up about that, it does more damage to the kid. But if we're able to ask the questions, put the pieces of the puzzle together,
So
we can
discernment
bring
is
healing.
a huge issue here.
Yeah.
It's something you're really looking for
Yeah.
that you need to develop in this. There's a graphic I found that says, I could never be a foster parent. The myth is it's too expensive. And the truth says raising a child certainly has its cost no matter how they enter your family, but becoming a foster parent, I'm reading this from the slide for those online, listen to Spotify, iTunes, becoming a foster parent is free. The state provides a monthly stipend to help you with additional cost of raising another child. Daycare is paid for if both parents work, and the child will be enrolled in Medicaid for health insurance. There are no additional costs to adopt a child for foster care, and the monthly stipend continues even when the child is adopted until the child is 18. So there is support financially. The financial doesn't seem to be a problem. It seems to be
Yeah.
the resource of the whole. The more holistic approach, the whole body, the mind, the soul. And then I also noticed on your site, which is just incredible, you have this whole section for volunteers. And now if you want to foster, we're going to help you respond to that here in a minute. And if you want to give, there's ways in which we're going to show you how to give to the Restore Network. But you have teams called like Respite Team, an event team, meal team, clothing team, prayer team. These are people that are supporting a family.
Yeah.
This is almost like a coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like you got the trainer and you got the defensive coordinator. You've got a whole group of people. Tell us a little bit about this group behind these families and what makes your network unique in this.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we exist to mobilize the church, and we actually believe everybody can do something, but we know that not everybody can foster, and frankly, not everybody should. We
Right.
think that everybody should consider it. You shouldn't just write it off quickly.
Right.
You should consider it. Is God calling me to this? But we know that not everybody is going to be able to open their home to children as foster parents. But what can you do? And so we have all these volunteer teams that provide much of the support that they need. And so really practically, so part of me getting involved in this was become a foster parent myself. And so when we took, just for example, when we took our fifth kid, we didn't know we were ready to take another placement, but God called. And so we wrestled through that, and we said, okay, yeah, we believe, let's say yes. And so between the 2 hours of us telling the caseworker yes and the child arriving in our home, Restore had already sent a crib, a mattress, diapers, wipes, formula, clothes, and pizza for the rest of my family.
These are things that other families might take months to get ready for. You're able to drop that in and help a family immediately.
Yeah, a text goes out to our staff. They mobilize those people. So there's a meals team on standby. There's clothes. So
that's the meal team. That's the clothes team.
Yeah. So we have this
prayer team for sure.
Prayer team. Yeah. So we got, you can say, okay, I'll shop for these kids. Like we all have people shopping too much anyway, right? Like so we can redeem that. Let them shop for Jesus. Let them shop for these kids. And so we send
you
a
have
text.
A standby closet and they're ready to go.
Yeah. So we're taking a 4-year-old little boy who wears 4T clothes and he doesn't have anything. All right, somebody's sent to the store or to our closet. They get what they need, and then they bring the receipts back to Restore. We reimburse them.
Fantastic.
And that family didn't have to leave and go to the house because it's almost always at night. You take a kid. And so that family didn't have to try to get out and because kids come into care with almost nothing usually. And so, so everybody gets to be, we have people that say, well, I can't foster, but I could cook a casserole. Great. You could serve those that are fostering, right?
Yes.
What is it? What is a respite team?
It's a respite.
I know.
That's okay.
I know. I'm a preacher.
Yeah, respite care. This is one of our favorite teams. And if you ask our staff,
I thought it was like another Sprite.
If you ask our staff, what's the biggest volunteer need that we have or most direct impact, they would say respite. And so what that is it's a family that says, okay, I can't have a kid in my home all the time, but I can help. I can have them some of the time, right? I can be your people. And so a lot of foster families have maxed out their current supports. Maybe they have grandparents and people around. Maybe they don't. Sometimes we lose relationships
because families aren't all in the same place like they used to be.
Right. And so sometimes they don't have support. And to be able to continue to say yes in this world to this kiddo and work through this healing is not easy. And so to be able to have somebody that says, hey, I'm going to be your person and I'm going to give you a regular break.
You guys are going to go on date night on Thursday night, movie night. We're going to take.
And so we're going to match that respite provider. So you can be a volunteer respite provider. We're going to give them training. We're going to run a background check. We're going to do all those things. But then we're going to match them with a family.
You get to be like a foster grandparent, foster uncle, aunt.
And the beauty is you're not just on a list for anybody to call, right? I think
they get to know the child.
Right. So I think we have some people that are like, I don't want to just be on a babysitter call list.
You get so.
That's not what we do. We're going to match you with a particular family,
right?
And then you become the people for that.
You're going to be the go-to. You're going to get known, and it's relationship.
Yeah, and so then you can work out together. Okay, is that Thursday nights? Is that Thursdays after school until bedtime, or is that 2 Saturdays a month, or is that Sundays after church? Whatever, you can work that out.
Pressure off, and another way that you can give a blessing, and people go, "Hey, this is doable."
And ask a foster. I dare you to ask a foster family if that would be helpful for them. They'll probably tear up immediately. That's a beautiful.
What are your event teams? That was one other.
Yeah.
You get their respite team, event team, meal team. We mentioned clothing, prayer. What's an event team?
So we have a few things that happen there. One is regular throughout the school year. We do what we call connect groups, which is where we're going to gather, invite those foster families to come in and give some training. Get some community, because we all know when you're doing a hard thing, it's much easier if you can do it with some other people, right? If you know you're not the only one doing it. So they're going to get to hang out with some other foster families and get some training and some conversation and a free dinner.
Because there's a lot of stuff you can learn together.
Yeah.
And you also feel like you're not isolated.
Right. So there's huge benefit. But somebody needs to take care of the kids during that, right? And so you can provide childcare as a part of that events team for those families. And we really want people to be able to show up regularly, because these kids that have, bounced from home to home, they don't have any permanency, and stability and consistency is the thing they're lacking. So
and
we
that's
don't
what
want,
you need to have.
Yeah, we don't want a rotating group of volunteers, but if you can, we have so many beautiful relationships that have developed because they've served in that kid's room every month for the last 2 or 3 years. They know them. They trust them.
It's like your nursery workers at your church. We use the same rotating group because they get familiar with the kids.
Right.
The kids see them as another kind of a pseudo grandma, pseudo grandpa, and there's a trust that builds. And these kids are already skeptical of those things.
Yeah. And we give them some high level training to make that a trauma informed environment. And so a lot of foster families, unfortunately, stop going out in public because it's hard for the kids. People don't know how to handle them. And then even church can be hard, or in nursery settings and school and things like that, because the kids aren't used to, they don't regulate well. And so foster families really get used to picking their kids up and hearing a lot of negative. Well, we had this behavior,
so do you have
whatever.
part of the process is training about trigger words and trigger attitudes and
and the needs, sensory needs. How can we keep this thing? How can we provide a regulating environment for these kiddos so that when their parents come back from that hour and a half of getting some training and some community and a dinner, they're picking up regulated kids and they're hearing positive things, not negative things.
Right.
So it's a huge impact that you can do, a couple hours a month, that you can make a huge impact from this family to continue to say yes and to bring healing to this kiddo.
You said, I'm going to get it over my head now. I've got a master's and doctorate in sociology and psychology, but the amygdala thing stimulated me when you said that, how these kids get this overstimulated. So that is expanded more than it should be in a child that age. Does that thing restore?
Yeah.
So as you bring that calm, as you bring that peace, as you bring order back, that child that's been overstimulated and
rewired,
you can, but it's going to take, like any nerve or anything, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Significant time.
Oh, yeah.
6 months, a year and a half.
Yeah. And a lot of it is literal rewiring as you study like brain stuff, like what fires together, wires together. And so, a lot of kids come to care with food insecurities because they didn't have food. And so we have kids that are stealing, hiding, food under their bed around,
I can relate to that. I have to do that around the house today because my wife says you need to lose weight and I have to hide my chips, So these kids for real, they're going to do that to survive.
Yeah. So what we do is we teach families, okay, well, if you're just always telling them, no, you're about to eat dinner, like they're not going to they can't respond to that. They're in that lower brain survival mode. Yeah. Right. And so we teach them how can we say yes? Yeah. Can we put some healthy, we encourage yes baskets, put some healthy snacks in a basket to where we say, hey, anything in this basket, I want you to ask me for it, but it's always going to be yes.
They learn their sufficiency.
It's always going to be yes. And they learn that attachment and provision. I mean, you think about scripturally, like if you read Exodus, like the things God is doing there are miraculous and incredible, right? From getting, the plagues and then the Red Sea and then the manna. But I see a deeper thing that what God is doing there is he's building an attachment with his people where he's teaching them, he's putting them in situations where they have to depend on him, and then he gets to show up. Yeah. To the end that they learn to trust him and can have this relationship with him, right? Really and so we try to teach our families that kind of thing where they can build that relationship back up. And so that's some of the training that's happening. And then we throw back to the events thing. We throw a couple good parties every year. So we do a back to school bash and a Christmas party. And so events team gets to help plan that, work at that, man the stations at those things, and we throw some really good parties that have some really
so there's lots
provide
of ways,
some good memories for those kiddos.
There's huge ways people get involved without actually becoming the foster parent, but they can be a resource to make that whole process not be a 50-50 failure,
and it makes an actual difference, right? Like you're not just it's not a token. It's not a token like, well, I did something. It's like, no, you're like I think you can pretty quickly see the impact. And and for church pastors, man, like, first of all, you're not having to coordinate that. Right. You just, expose your people to this. They sign up for our teams, and then we facilitate all that.
That's fantastic.
And then, but you're getting part of the benefit, if you want to put it that way. Right. Your ROI is that your people are getting discipled through these missional opportunities where they're encountering these stories and seeing the world in a different way, and their missional impact, their gospel lens, their compassion, their generosity, their empathy, all is growing because they're doing this work. And and you just, it's kind of passive discipleship.
Well, and you're going to end up with a lot better people that are going to train better and be more efficient at everybody they encounter. It's going to be fantastic.
But in a perfect world, the church should be doing this anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. I love that.
I mean, that's what God intended.
That's right. Yeah.
I think it's really cool the way you're kind of walking into something that's a chaotic mess and doing your part to sort that out and to make it make sense.
Yeah. The state's not set up to do this.
No, and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to.
But they're trying. I mean,
well, right.
And it's interesting. What they're trying to do is reconciliation.
Yeah, they are.
Every
Without
kid,
and they're not able to do Jesus like a
Right.
501c3 non-for-profit faith-based organization can do. So you're able to step in and not only offer a solution to the problem, you're to be able to be Christ's hands and feet.
yeah. Every kid that comes into care, their initial legal goal is going to be return home.
How does the state feel about you
Right.
being a faith-based organization? Do they work well with you? Is that become a conflict, or is it just a nice partnership?
We are very intentional about that, right? So there's a lot of layers to this ministry for us, and those state organizations and private agencies is a big layer, because we can't do much if they don't trust us, right? So we're very intentional about building those relationships with our agencies, and by and large, they love us, right?
Fantastic.
They love us.
You're providing great families, great environment.
They hand out our brochures to their families. They want their families, because they see it's a difference, right? So I told you earlier, 50% of foster parents quit within the first year. Well, if they do it with us, we're well over 90%.
Oh, wow.
They're still fostering after their first year.
You're filling that
the
gap
state
big time.
workers, the state workers probably appreciate the support too.
Yeah.
Because they're just totally overwhelmed.
There's huge ministry opportunities for us to just love on them,
Yes.
be a friend to them. We know what they're feeling.
And
We're
you're there
carrying a
for them
burden.
over and over again, because they're exhausted by trying to start somebody new, fresh. They're seeing some of the same people, so it's easier for them as well.
Yeah.
So you're a good option.
And so I think the video said earlier, I think it said 39% of kiddos spend time in 4 or more homes. So the exciting thing is we're working on an updated video, because those numbers have gone down. And I want to believe it's partly because the work Restore is doing, because
You have to believe
when,
that.
when a kid lands in a Restore Network home, the chances of them being removed at all or having to go to a different home go well below 10%.
You're in
That's
11
great.
counties in the southern part of the state.
Yeah,
It's got
so-
to be making an impact.
Yeah, 590 families that we support.
That you support 7 different office locations.
So and that
hubs.
last year alone, it was 703 kids that we supported. It's 590 families across those 11 counties and 703 kids. And so if we're providing that kind of stability to those families and those kiddos, that is going to affect those numbers. And there's still thousands more in the state that we hope to impact at some point. But
Are you looking to grow where you are? Are you thinking about adding more county? We'll get next moves in the next episode.
Okay, yeah.
But there is you are pushing out though.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I was going to say too, I think we picture all of the parents who have had their kids removed as being evil.
Yeah.
Some of them really aren't. Some of them
yeah.
just have issues that they can't handle. And I'm sure those parents appreciate you guys too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that
Yeah.
their kids have been in a home that is stable until they can be restored into, and hopefully they can get healing. And
Do most of the kids go back to a parent or to a family member eventually, or do they move to? How does that end up usually? What are the odds or percentages, or how does that break down?
It's hard to really break it down. It's about half and half, because some of them, they go home and then they might end up back in care. And so
Right.
it's hard to say. But that is always the goal. But yeah, a lot of them end up, not being able to.
They go into another permanent care situation.
Yeah, a lot of them end up not being able to remedy the situation, and so
Right.
their rights get removed, or they surrender it, and then the kid, is then adopted. And so,
But either way, you've transitioned a kid into
Permanency.
Either go back to a stable home that's more stable, or more permanency in the process.
Yeah, and
how long are the kids often with? What is the length of a typical foster parent? Is there a range?
about 3 years.
About 3 years.
that they're in the system or in state care. It's about 3 years.
Takes it that amount of time.
And then that's an average. I've known some cases that have been 10 years before they got to adoption, and I've known some that have moved pretty quick. But yeah,
I want to show this video real quick. The video's it's a reel that you guys have out. It's about a minute and 12 seconds long. It's a couple guys in this video. What other sign do you need? If you're thinking about this, I'm going to tell you how to respond to this in a minute. But I want you to watch this little clip here because it's really good. Here we go, Donna.
Just because it's good doesn't mean it's not hard. It's easy. It's really easy in the midst of seeing the need and then starting a journey to say yes, to think that it's all about the lives that you're going to impact, to minimize how much I needed God to use something like foster care to break me out of like the false idea that I get to control my life.
And I've noticed a need for there to be like a clear sign. Like, is this what I'm supposed to do? I foster care lines up with the heart of God. And if we can align what we think we're supposed to be doing, and it aligns perfectly with Scripture, then what other sign do you need?
Real trust always requires for us to live in a way that we can't do it on our own. So if we're trusting that God can do it, but we live in a way that we actually think we can accomplish it on our own, it's not real trust.
I think it's really great that you guys did this clip with some men.
Yeah.
I think you always think, oh, mom wants to adopt a kid. It's really, you need families. You need the whole unit. So
That clip's from a longer video called Dads Who Say Yes.
Yeah, dads who say yes. So and they can find that. If they connect with you guys, you could get that clip out to them. I picked that reels up on your Facebook. It was fantastically done. So let me see if I can get this right. I want to put this out really well. Your website is really well organized. Let me see if I can bring a good slide up for this. I built this little extra slide here. It's y'all's graphics. It's the restorenetwork.org. Go find that website. They've got lots of good links. You can check out their volunteer needs, how to give, how to be a part of one of these teams, how you can actually get involved if you want to go start the process. They have you have a basic kind of overview course where they can come and kind of get an overview of what it would look like, right?
Yep.
Like
Called a 101 workshop. Yep.
101 workshop. But what I loved about it is I always try when people come on, I try to get their donate link on here. And there is a donate link. On the site, you'll see it. But what I liked better was when I saw the respond now button. And I created it the exact color that it is on yours. I built that this morning myself. Nice. And when you get to the top of their webpage, there's a respond button over there. Yeah. And when you hit that respond button, it drops you into a page that will let you donate. It lets you how to volunteer, but also how, if you want to be a foster parent, how you can start the process. And it gets you click boxes and it'll send you down those different tracks. Yeah. And maybe you want to do one or more of those. I don't know. Yeah. But check that out. I thought that was a great tool at the top. Thanks. So if you don't want to dig through their page and you just want to respond in some way, go hit the respond button and you'll see all the ways which you can respond financially. You can with your labor and your personal, your church. If you're a part of a church, a pastor, a leader, you can get this before the right people in your church and say, hey, we want to be a part of this. It's incredible. I'm going to tell a story in the next episode about one of their bases up in the Waterloo area and a connection Beth and I have to that area. And it's going to tell you that I'm going to tell you right now, they've got some good churches involved. I pastored all in the Highland and Waterloo areas. Okay, I know a lot of your locations up there and a lot of the leaders up there and the pastors up there. There's some great churches up in the farther part of the region, but you're all across Southern Illinois. Yeah. So if you're anywhere in Southern Illinois area and you want to respond now, get on the restorenetwork.org, hit that link, work through that, and I'm sure that they'll get with you right away. Right away. Jordan, anything final? This is why don't you give us, as we wrap up this first one, we're going to come back to Spotlight. We're going to dig deeper in. We're going to find out more about your family, and we're going to find out more about some of the things that people can get involved, more active. Give us the pitch. Help people kind of, how can they become a foster parent? How can they just get involved if they're not ready to do that? And how can they give? Give us a summary. Give us an overview.
Yeah, well, going back to our website is the best place to start. But what you're going to do, if you fill that out, you're going to hear from one of our people in your area, right? And so that's going to get filtered to the right county, right region. And in each of our counties, we have local staff. We have a director that's going to work with the families. And so if you say, I want to foster, you're going to hear from them.
And you can see that online. You can see their director map. You can see their zones or counties. They got a interactive map. It's fantastic.
Yep. And then if you want to volunteer, you're going to hear from our coordinators. So they're the ones that are going to handle all the volunteers in the event. And then if you click donate, you're going to hear from somebody in our office. And so they're going to follow up with you and give you those next steps. If you are at all wondering if you could foster, then our 101 workshop is the place to go. It is an informational, no pressure. You don't leave there with a child, right? Like it's not.
You don't give it all the way out the door.
No, it's not how it works. But we want to give a true picture of what this should and could look like, so that people can actually count the cost rightly and then find their fit. We hope that they'll say yes to fostering. You're not trying to create trauma.
You're wanting to give parents good information, fully informed, because the last thing you want is to make a bad relationship here. Yeah. They don't need another one. Yeah. So you're not trying to hoodwink anybody. No. You're trying to inform and empower.
That's right.
A decision.
Yeah. That's good.
I love that.
Yep. So if you sign up for one of those, we've actually moved those to be online right now. That first step is an informational online workshop. But we can do them in person too. If a church says, hey, I would love for all of my people to hear about this, we'll run one of those workshops.
And how many do you have engaged right now? Cool. You said again.
We had 590 families last year.
That's
we're
last year.
Always growing, yeah.
So the restored.
We retire them if they close their life. Like it's always that's an evolving list. And so,
do you have a number in your history of about how many foster parent children you've engaged?
I don't right now.
I
We
mean,
tried to pull that at the
I
end
know
of the
it's a
year.
tough one.
It's yeah.
Is there a rough number? Are you over 1,000?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had 703 last year,
And you've been
so
going on for
once
quite a
once they're adopted or they return home, like they get cleared out of our system. But this year we're experiencing a pretty.
I mean, my point is quantitatively in the
Yeah.
in the course of the restored network, y'all been dealing with thousands of cases,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because
Okay.
we're well over 10 years.
And my
now, yeah.
point is that experience is going to set somebody up wanting to do this to work with you guys for success because you've learned through all those. You've been able to adapt and
Real data.
real data, and you've created a system to help to take the failure rate from 50-50 to 90% success rate.
Yeah.
The state,
Yeah, I mean, I see huge growth just from the last time
Me
we
too.
talked to
Oh,
somebody
me too.
about it. It's like
Oh, yeah.
you guys are
Yeah.
wow.
exploding.
Yeah, and you can see that. I can see where the state would have you guys come in as a consultant just to help them with that because that failure rate's very bad. Retention rate for you guys is very good.
We get some of that actually. The state doesn't. I mean,
Consultation,
two of our staff
learning.
we're just meeting with a whole group of new DCFS caseworkers and existing ones, and they said, hey, we want to get you guys in front of them early, and it's I don't know that we call it consulting, but certainly they want to hear who we are.
What you're doing, what's
yeah,
working.
they want their staff to know that we exist to support their families because they know that if a family is supported by us, they have a lot better chance of sticking with that kiddo and being a good home for them.
Well, let me say this again. On your webpage, it says, we are changing the culture of foster care together.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what you're doing. I highly encourage people. I think you need to respond now. I put that button back up. Go find that button on their webpage. Go find the button on their webpage. Hit that. Because the worst you can do is find out how your church can get involved, how your women's group, men's group. And I'm going to talk to you about how a men's group got involved. And when you see this, guys, you're going to learn you could be big brothers, you could be uncles here in a way that's really enriching to these families. It's going to be great. I'm going to tell you a story in the next one. It's going to be cool. You're going to see a picture that I thought it triggered something in me. And I know this group of men from this church in Waterloo. And I think, man, that's something a lot of churches could be doing. They've got a good group of men or a women's group, or they could just engage and help provide an event or an activity that really lifts up the whole network. The Restore Network, I'm here with Jordan. It's been fantastic. We were in part 1 of this, and we're going to be back in part 2. And we're going to look at the backstory, a little bit about your background, a little bit about Restore's background, and the challenges and what you see coming next. We're going to get in the future of this, but we'll also tell people how to continue to get involved and respond now. I'm Pastor Troy. You're at onthedoc.org. Check us out on that website, info@onthedoc.org. You can email us and get questions. There'll be show note links. Donna always puts good descriptions in the links to Restore. She'll make sure she links up stuff so you can find that very easy. Check out the notes and make sure you go to YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. If you're on one medium, make sure you're on another one. What happens if they disappear or you have a defect? You need to have multiple ways to connect with us. And as always, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. You can reach out, ask us a question. We'll tell you how to get connected to them. If you are interested in being a foster parent and you just don't know, just share some dialogue with us. We'll pass it on to Jordan. One of them will respond to that, I'm sure. Hit subscribe, like, notify, share this episode with other people, and you can be a force multiplier, as he said, a force multiplier in helping restore these children's lives to the glory of God. We're excited about that. The Restore Network's doing a great work here, so share that with others. Go to Patreon, be a partner or sponsor of this show. We could use your patronage as we take the show to the next level, as we wrap up season 3 in the weeks ahead and start thinking about what will happen in season 4. We'd love to have you as a partner or sponsor. And again, slntsilent.com. Go check out their products. Use the code OTD on the main site or go to slnt.com/discount/OT for our great discounts and special shipping on all your Faraday bag products. Reclaim your right to disconnect. Check out our advertisement right at the end of this. We'll show you a clip on how these products work and if they're right for you. Go get one and be blessed. I'm Pastor Troy. We're at Community Faith Church at coftv.com. If you don't have a church home, we'd love to have you. If you don't have one, find a Bible-believing church in your area, and we'd love to see you somewhere engaged in the faith in a place that's preaching the Word of God and getting you active and engaged. And the Restore Network is a way to get engaged right now at many different levels. We highly recommend it. Mother Beth, you got anything else to wrap up?
Oh, not right now. Just
Not
looking
right
forward
now?
to the next one.
I do too. Jordan, thank you so much for coming in the studio with us, and we'll be back in part 2. We'll go a little bit deeper. Donna Kranuski, thank you so much for running the show over there as always.
Of course.
Yes, you did a great job today. We'll be back in episode 2, and we'll go deeper and deeper. And as we sign off from here, I'm Pastor Troy with Mother Beth, Donna Kornewski in the studio on the dock. Don't miss an episode. We've got more coming to you. And don't forget to go back and watch all the old ones. They're good too. We'll see you soon, and we'll be back. And I'm Pastor Troy, and you've been on the dock.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases. But with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.